Let's talk about what is going on with the royals. Of course, we are not far away now from the coronation of the King Charles and, of course, Queen Camilla. And, of course, ongoing issues about whether Harry and Meghan will be there. Word is that they will, but their children are not invited. But also, Prince Andrew back in the news demanding cash. Let's talk to Grant Harrold, who's a former royal butler. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Julia.
Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Let's talk about, just quickly, Harry and Meghan, first of all, never out of the news. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex, we know, have now been invited to the coronation. They are expected, or they've not confirmed, to be at the event on May the 6th. But many in the royal family back here are going to give them the cold shoulder. It's not going to be a warm welcome. Very different, of course, from the funeral for the Queen, when that was a time of mourning. This time has moved on, and the royal family are even more unhappy with everything Harry and Meghan have had to say.
I think that's the thing, Julia. Between the late Queen's funeral and the coronation, there's been a lot that's taken place. And even at the Queen's funeral, I think a few of us, like myself, thought maybe possibly this is the beginning of healing, what had happened. But then we had the complete disaster of the documentaries and the book. And as you quite rightly said, I think not just the royal family, I think a lot of people are going to be unhappy. I think the public will be unhappy at them being at the coronation. But Julia, it doesn't surprise me, because I've always thought that he would be there. I didn't think he wouldn't. No. I wasn't 100% sure if she would be there. And this is going to be the difficult part, isn't it? Because the reality is, it's been said, there could be booing at a coronation, and we haven't, not something you really want at a coronation.
Yeah, I mean, that is one of the key things, isn't it? There's always that possibility. We've seen from Republicans, these demonstrations, you know, not my king. I didn't really like the idea that people would shout out to royal members of the royal family when they were in procession, mourning processions for the late Queen. I thought that was bad form. I mean, I defend their right to do it legally, but can we have good taste? But I think people certainly have the right, even at a major event like this, to make their views known on whether they want an elected or a family, you know, a family, a head of state. But yeah, booing. I mean, Prince Harry and Meghan are walking into the Abbey, and there is Westminster Cathedral. There is a booing. That is going to be very telling, isn't it?
It is, and as you said, of course, people have quite rightly got the right to make their views known. You know, this is what's so good about this country, you know, the democracy. We've got the right to do that. But obviously, when it comes to Harry and Meghan, that's not obviously directly at the monarchy, it's at them. But that will also be the confusion, because there's going to be journalists from across the world there. And of course, we're assuming that it's at Harry and Meghan. But you know what you don't want the headline saying that King's coronation booing in general. You know, it's not a great headline. So that's why I thought that possibly Harry might take the decision and maybe just one of them come. But the thing is, again, Julia, they're family, aren't they? And this is with all families, you know, family politics, and family members do turn up at events, and it's not always welcome.
And everyone sort of, you know, and then there's a lot of WhatsApps afterwards. Yeah, we all do it. Let's also talk about Prince Andrew. I mean, he's someone who's not welcome pretty much anywhere, it would appear, even in Buckingham Palace, being asked to vacate all his rooms. He's being told he's going to have to downgrade from a royal lodge to a smaller property, to, in fact, indeed, Meghan and Harry's old place, Frogmore Cottage. Still bigger than most people's homes, by the way. But apparently his latest whinge and moan is he's been left, quote, bewildered, according to friends, and feels a lot of resentment at the fact that Queen Elizabeth's huge wealth, £650 million Duchy of Lancaster estate, was left directly just to King Charles. It goes from monarch to monarch. It's a way of avoiding inheritance tax. Personally, I'm not entirely sure why a wealthy family, should avoid inheritance tax if other people can't. But Prince Andrew is said to be, quote, in despair that the king has not shared out any of that wealth among his siblings.
I think there's a couple of things there, Julia, isn't there? Because there's going to be people that are going to be lending the rest of us that they don't pay this inheritance tax, which I believe goes back to John Major. I think it was back in 1992 that this was brought in. And of course, like myself, who have lost family members in recent years, you pay tax, and a lot of people will probably find that part unfair, which I can understand. And then the other part, as you mentioned, is obviously Prince Andrew reportedly being unhappy, not being given any inheritance. But this is obviously a tricky matter, because for those of us that have sadly lost loved ones, and you do sometimes come into some money, it always ends up becoming a debate or a fallout over the money, which is the sad reality. And I don't think it matters who you are. And this just goes to show you can even be a senior member of the royal family, and if you feel that you've kind of been disinherited, which is possibly that's what's happened, then it's obviously he's making that known.
Yeah, absolutely. It is absolutely fascinating. But they're all multimillionaires. I mean, again, it's like Rishi Sunak and his extra electricity grid for heating a swimming pool. Read the room, people. Read the room. Grant Harrold's a former royal butler. Thank you so much for joining us. 9:54 is the time.